So I haven't really made a video in a while, and it's mainly because I'm probably lazy, you know. I'm sure everyone who tries to make content is lazy to some extent. But I've had this question on my mind for a while about nostalgia, and if someone can be nostalgic about something that happened before they were born. Now I know this is kind of like some stupid shit, no one cares about what I have to say about this, but I thought just making content, it's kind of fun, you know? I have a good time doing it, so why not?
If something's hard to do, then it's not worth doing. You just stick that
video
in the closet next to
YouTube channel,
your
SoundCloud,
in your
on Levance,
and we'll go inside and watch TV.
Nope.
I hit that Ginobili with my left hand, all like woo.
Anyways, to the main question. Why am I nostalgic for something that happened before I was born? Or more specifically, can someone be nostalgic for something that they never even experienced? So when I think about this, the first thing that really comes to mind is the uptrend in iPods being bought and used, with people feeling like some sort of deeper connection to this obsolete piece of technology. And I should know. I mean, I was one of them. Being born in the early 2000s, my generation was part of the great experiment that you always hear those boomers on CNN talking about, to see what would happen with kids growing up in a digital and computerized age. And I mean, the topic's interesting. There's a lot of interesting takes on cable news.
On the right, Alex Jones. Yes, journalist. Jones is often mocked for his flamboyance.
Oh yeah. Oh boy.
But anyways, I mean, sure, I was around early iPods when I was growing up. My mom even had one that just basically sat in the glove box of her car, just shuffling songs from the 80s and 90s, you know, reliving Gen X's youth or early 20s or whatever. Which is actually, that's a whole nother topic that's kind of interesting. If you ever go to a grocery store or something like that, or even where I work right now, I'm not gonna say, because I don't really want to dox myself, but the music we play is from the 80s and a little bit from the 90s. And that coincides with the peak spending age demographic. Anyways, that's something completely different. I just think it'd be funny if we start hearing Juice WRLD or something in 20 years over the QSC PA. Anyways, back to iPods. I never really had a deep mental or physical connection to one. It was just another technological utility that was available to me amid thousands to make my life easier or whatever. Even so, last year, for whatever reason, I went on eBay and I way overpaid for an iPod Classic with a 160 gigabyte hard drive. Thank you, Papa Jobs. And I relished in memories that weren't even that great to begin with. I mean, like I said, I never paid attention to these. It was just a thing in my parents' car. Now, I guess this is a little more like nostalgia in the traditional sense. It's not really answering the question I was talking about at the beginning of the video. But given how much prices increased on these old MP3 players, I mean, I can't be the only one experiencing something like this. It's weird. I met some kid the other day when I was working who was born in 2010, and they're 12 years old now. I remember 2010. It's scary, you know? I was at the Vancouver Olympics in 2010. I have distinct memories of that, and there was someone who was just born or not even born who I was able to talk to and have a conversation with, which kind of blew my mind. But anyways, given how much the prices increased for these old MP3 players, there has to be people who never experienced them who are buying them, either to look cool or maybe they feel some deeper connection to them. It's easy to chalk this up to a trend. YouTubers like DankPods, which is great content, I highly suggest you check that channel out if you haven't already, which, I mean, the algorithm was pushing him pretty hard for a while there, so you probably have seen his videos already. I know that after he made the videos, the prices jumped, because people were like, ooh, iPod, cool. But I really think that was just kind of a red herring that most people latch onto if they try to think about this topic. A better example of this, for me personally, would be retro computing. And I know you're about to hear some nerd shit that most people do not care about, but this is my video, this is my channel, so you can fuck right off if you don't like, or if you don't care about what I'm gonna say. You know what, I'll even put on a timestamp right now so you can skip past the nerd shit. So I own, and I have owned, a lot of retro technology, computer hardware, game consoles, mainly from like the 70s, 80s, and 90s, even the early 2000s a tiny bit, to the point where most of the stuff I have is related to that generation of tech. My personal belongings are heavily influenced by 80s and 70s style. You know, I have mini discs. Like, who uses mini discs, especially in the United States where I live, where they never even caught on? I find myself latching on to these obsolete pieces of technology for no other reason that I feel like some kind of connection to them, or almost what they represent. And a prime example of that is a computer I built that was made using hardware from about 1995 to 2001, around that era. And this thing is kick-ass in the retro computing world because it has dual slot 1 Pentium 3s, which are running at 850 megahertz, a Voodoo 5 5500, which I don't even know how I found it for as cheap as I did. 2 CD-ROM drives, a Sound Blaster Audigy with that weird breakout panel thing that you put on the front, which I don't even know why I bought it, just a waste of money, but I digress. The only reason I bought this stuff is because I almost felt compelled to. Setting up that computer scratched some kind of primal itch in my monkey brain. Oh, man, build old computer. And it just made me revel in memories that I didn't even really have. I think that the best way to kind of describe what I was feeling or what I was connecting to is through the movie Office Space. I mean, that's one of my favorite movies ever created, and I don't know, some people probably hate it, whatever. But I feel like kind of the central topic of that movie is that life is so good in this pre-9/11 world.
These are clothes for after 9/11, and a lot of clothes I see on the runway are still clothes from...
They're very pre-9/11. They're so pre-9/11.
That the only things you really have to complain about are like TPS reports, and I mean, yeah, I'm sure that life was dull then, but I feel like, especially with modern events, insert clip of news cycle now, the world's a lot worse off, and I don't know. It seems a little ungrateful almost, but I'm just talking out of my ass. I don't know what I'm saying. I'm not a movie reviewer at all.
David, I mean, I know you're a sophisticated guy. The world is a mess. The world is as angry as it gets. Well, you think this is going to cause a little more anger? The world is an angry place.
But anyways, back to the nerd shit a little bit. Had a little tangent there. Whenever I use that old computer, I'm kind of left with this hollow feeling in my chest, this lingering thought in my head of, now what? And I mean, I'm not alone in this feeling. I've talked with friends and family about this, and with a lot of people, it's the same way. Sneakers, cars, art. Now, art is actually kind of interesting in its own right, because it's seeing the artistic value in something what makes us derive meaning and value, make us want to feel part of an exclusive club that we can only pretend to be a part of if we're not there to experience things as they were originally intended in their prime or when they originally happened. I mean, kind of. I've experienced firsthand in school how rewarding it feels to be part of a clique, or how degrading it can feel to be rejected from one. And in my opinion, that sense of belonging is what really makes us human. We're very social creatures, and even people who stay away from the spotlight have some primal desire to belong and have a tribe. I mean, the same logic can be applied to nostalgia in some sense. Another example of this would be maybe with a streamer. I know that in a recent J-Schlatt stream that I was watching, he asked if people had seen his old live streams on YouTube, if they were there when he had 100 viewers. Now, I wasn't. But about like 2,000 people in Twitch chat said, oh, I was there, which is supremely unlikely. I mean, he never uploaded those VODs in the last like 4 years, and there's no way that that many people were actually there. And people would say that they could just be clout chasing, but I think it really comes down to something deeper of wanting to be in some kind of exclusive club, like I was saying before. So, back to the question posed in the beginning of this video. I mean, I don't really have an answer. I mean, probably. I have no idea. I mean, I'm just some dude talking on the internet into a void. Nothing I say or do has any impact on my actual life, as long as I maintain a thin veil of anonymity, which I plan on doing. But I mean, it's something to think about, you know? And hopefully I've laid out some opinions, maybe some points, that can help you make your own decision about this. But anyways, that's all I have for today.